So what we are going to do is that we are going to create a scenario where a boarding operation is being made. So we are going to rearrange this card and create a scenario whereby a boarding operation has been made. So we'll start with compass. We'll start with compass compounding. From compass compounding, we'll go to chaos decompounding. So then from chaos decompounding, we'll now go to boarding operation. So the boarding operations we are going to look at is segmentation and resegmentation. So with that, we can now progress to rearrange the cards. Let me explain this thing. But this is that about navigation. So if you have learned up to this point, it means that you have learned over between 70 to 80% of the gameplay. So yeah, so technically that is that for navigation. So we progress to boarding operation and boarding operation. Okay, yeah, so having navigated for this player, and we've created a scenario where we can explain boarding operation, and the one we are starting with is called compass compounding. So compass compounding is what we are looking at. So we are assuming that this starting second player had made a play and is now my own instance of play. So I will now look at my company deck and see if I can make a compass compounding on this operation deck. So a player is not just navigating on the operation deck for navigating purpose, just for navigational sake. He or she is trying to achieve some goals, and one of the goals that he or she is trying to achieve is to, or the two major goals, is to make either a boarding operation or a boarding operation, because that is the way they are going to gain points and win the game. So and one of the ways of gaining points is either making a compass compounding or a chaos decompounding play. So for a compass compounding play, which is what we are looking at right now, by definition, a compass compounding is when a player makes a play on two of the operation deck or all of the operation deck using 2 cards, 3 cards, or 4 cards from his or her from his or her company deck, such that the operation deck constitutes cards that have different shock threats. All the whole 3 operation deck should have different shock threats, or all the all 3 of the operation deck should have different pattern cards. So once this is done successfully, the first stage of compass compounding has been done. So the next stage of compass compounding is a player being able to navigate on his or her ideation deck afterwards. So making a play using 2 cards, 3 cards, 4 cards on 2 of the simultaneously on 2 on the of the operation deck, or all 3 of the operation deck, such that all 3 of the operation deck constitute cards of different shock threats, or all 3 constitute different pattern cards. So after we've done that, which is called a compass play, the next thing is to move to making a compounding. So the compounding is done on the ideation deck. So it is just making plays or layering card on the ideation deck. So to layer cards on this ideation deck, a player has to obey the rules of navigating on the operation deck, but the player can play multiple times, which by layering 1 card, 2 card, or 3 cards. So we'll now look at that now. So not being able to navigate also has an advantage. So let's try to make the play first. So this player had made a play, so let me try to create a compass compounding play right here. So it's my own instance of making a play, and the first thing I have to look at is this opponent ideation card, and the ideation card has the shock threat churn. Remember, you have to memorize the symbol of each of the shock threads. This one is churn. This particular symbol here is churn. So which means I cannot navigate with churn, so I have to keep it aside here. So, and I'll focus on these other cards I have here. So looking at the prevailing operation deck, the next thing I have to do is look for how to navigate. So this card can actually navigate. This particular card can navigate here, so I can just navigate here, pick a card and refill. Do you understand? Then I'm still in the process, so I'll still pick another card now. Are you getting it? And play. I can make a play here. So because it is the same index value 2, index value 2, I can make a play here. I pick a card and I refill. So having done that, the next thing I have to do is to start layering card right here. So layering card, I have to start navigating here on my ideation deck. So I've done this one is a compass play has been made here. As you can see, all three of them have different shock threats. This one is slump. This other one, you can see the symbol of slump. If you invert it, you see it better. So this one has slump in it. This other one has trend, and this other one has depth, which means they are all of them are different. The shock threats are different. So yeah, so that is that. Then the next thing is to navigate here. So I will start looking for how can I possibly navigate here. So I will start navigating. Okay, so to navigate, I will pick a card and I'll pick a card and see what can navigate here. 5 S can navigate. Step S, I've done one navigation. I can do more again. I'm seeing this can navigate again with 1 and S. So as in Biathlon X, Biathlon 1 and Unastic S. I've done 2 navigation here successfully. I'm seeing if I can possibly do 3, and I can with this card. I can do 3. I can do 3, and 3 is the maximum. So I now navigate with 3 cards. So what that means is that I have concluded successfully a compass compounding. It mustn't be 3. I can just navigate only 1 and I'm okay, or I may not have any other thing to navigate. It may be 2, but the maximum is 3. So the number of cards you are able to layer here is going to determine the number of cards you are going to gain. So what it means is that if I layer only 1 card, I'm going to gain 2 cards from the resource deck to my manpower exchange deck. You see, this is where the manpower exchange deck is created. So being able to make a compass compounding, a player can gain cards to his or manpower exchange deck. And in this case, I made 3 successful navigation, which means it is 6 cards I'm going to gain. So I pick 6 cards and place here. So I've gained 6 cards here. Okay, so and the maximum number of cards to be gained to the manpower exchange deck is 6 cards. Once it is done, the game comes to an end and this player is declared a winner. Okay, the player that was able to accumulate 6 cards to, before other players to his or her manpower exchange deck. Although their fund value has to be calculated and the player with the highest will win. So you can see fund value here 5, 1 plus 1 plus 1, so plus 5 and 9. We just sum everything and determine the winner. Okay, so that is that about compass compounding. So in compass compounding, this is a case where it is shock threat. It can be pattern cards, but pattern cards are this type of cards, but the 3 of them have to be different. Let's say this now, 3 of them are different. So in the case where 3 of them are like this successfully, you have made a compass compounding also. So but let's just pick this up right here back. Okay, so that is that about compass compounding. Next thing we are going to look, and yes, the depreciation deck gains 1 card whenever compass compounding is made successfully. Yes, that's another way the depreciation deck gains card. Okay, so that is about compass compounding. The next thing we are going to look at is chaos decompounding. So let's take a look at chaos decompound. Let's rearrange and create a scenario where chaos decompounding happens. Okay, so before we move to chaos decompounding, remember that after successfully making this compass compound, they have to pick a card, the cards I use and refill. And I use a total of how many cards? I navigated 1 here and 3 here, so I use a total of 4 cards. So I'm refilling them. I think I've done the first refilling with these other cards. So then also remember that in making a compass compounding, I can make 2 using just 2 cards by placing on any 2 operation deck, or I can just play on 3 of them just to create the condition of compass play on the operation deck. Okay, so that is that. Yeah.
Ready, action. Okay. So in a standard gameplay or a professional gameplay, a player is required to navigate fully on his or her ideation deck and the operation deck before refilling the depleted cards in his or her company deck. So a player is not permitted to refill after navigating on the operation deck alone. So they must conclude their whole navigation. This also comes into effect when they are trying to make a burden operation or a burdener operation, be it compass compounding or chaos decompounding, segmentation or segmentation. They must conclude the whole burden operation or burdener operation before they go ahead in refilling the depleted company deck. So that is the rule guiding navigation and refilling of depleted company deck in a standard gameplay, and which is what we recommend you start with.
Okay, so we are going to look at chaos decompounding. So if you've understood compass compounding, chaos decompounding is very similar but a little difference. So let's assume now that I have made a play and I just made a compass decompounding, and is this other player instance of play. So we just rearrange it to create a scenario for you to understand. So now it's this starting second player's instant to make a play. So and he or she is to make a play on the operation deck. So the first thing the player has to check is my prevailing ideation deck. So with my prevailing ideation deck, the player has to ask since my prevailing ideation deck is this card, which in this case has slump, shock threat, slump. So the shock threat is technically the economic shock. So and in this case it is slump. So which means I can't play with any card that has slump here. So I have to take this one and put side, and okay, these other ones, none of them has slump in it. So I can play with these other 4. So so that means I can navigate. So I'll look for where to navigate. So but before I look for where to navigate, let's define what chaos decompounding is. So by definition, chaos decompounding is when a player simultaneously plays on either of the 2 operation deck or all 3 of the operation deck, such that the 3 prevailing operation deck constitute cards that have at least 2 trademark card and 1 shock card. So and that's what I'm trying to do now. So then afterwards, the player is to now progress to make a play on his or her ideation deck by layering 1 card, 2 card, or 3 cards. So okay, so the number of cards that the player is going to layer on his or her ideation deck is going to determine the number of cards that the player is going to gain to his or her horsepower exchange deck. Remember, the horsepower exchange deck enables the player to end the game as a draw. So what it means is that chaos the compounding is a play that is an advantageous play that enables a play or an opponent to try to end the game as a draw. And this happens technically when the other opponent is trying to win or is ahead of him or her. So the other player is just trying to end the game as a draw. So now let me make a play and show what chaos the compounding look like. So where can I possibly make a play with this? Okay, with this card I can make a play here. Remember, I'm using a trademark card. Remember, a trademark card is the card that has this symbol, this logo marks in it, and in this case this one is Madadin. So I can just play this. I can play this here because it's the same buyout fund. So buyout fund plus 5 can be played with this other buyout fund plus 5. So I can now you see, so this is plus 5 can be played on plus 5, so I can play here. So that means I've made one play. So you see, I can now proceed to make another play. So okay, let's say, why not let me play this one here instead, so that it will give me the ability to play somewhere else. So instead of making one play, which is the default number, chaos the compounding, just like compounding, enables you to play more. So I can also play here because it has the same owner stake. So owner stake D can be played on owner stake D. So with the owner stake D right here, now I can just make a play here. So then I pick the 2 cards and refill. So after picking the 2 cards and refill, I now, you see right here, now we've created a chaos play. So what it means, two trademark cards are here. So even though they are not the same trademark card, so ideally there should be different trademark cards. So let me place this one here instead. Yeah, let me place this one here instead, and let me just refill. So there should be different trademark cards. So 2 different trademark cards. This one is Butchery and this one is Madadin. So then this other, the remaining operation deck should be a shock card. So if it is a pattern card, it will not hold. If it is a trademark card, it will not hold. It must be a shock card. So different trademark, just like this. Then the next thing is for me to start navigating here. So navigating here, I have to now start navigating. So I look for what, so this can navigate index value 6, index value 6. So you can see with index value 6, I can navigate. So I've navigated 1 time. I can navigate up to 3 times. So I look for what can also navigate also. In the A can go, yeah, plus 5, yeah. So I'll look for what can go. This can go crash time A and crash time A. So you can see it here, crash time A, crash time A. It can go. So I make another play, and I can also make another play with owner stake care, because this other card I just played has owner stake care. So I can just make a play here. So with that, I've played 3 times. So 3 times means I'm going to gain 6 cards. Do you understand? I'm going to gain 6 cards to my horsepower. So horsepower is here. I gain 6 cards from the resource deck. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So I have to gain up to 9 cards here to end the game as the draw. That's what the horsepower exchange deck does. Then the depreciation deck is going to gain 1 card. Okay, so yeah, so the depreciation deck is going to gain 1 card. Yeah, so then I have to refill. So I pick there are 2 cards. I navigated 3 times, so I pick and I refill. So I now have my 5 cards back. Okay, so so that is that. After doing this, the next thing is that this other player is going to make a play. So I've successfully made a chaos decompounding. Unlike compass compounding, where I try to gain card to my manpower exchange deck to win. So this is my manpower exchange deck. I've gained card here, while this other opponent gain to his or home horsepower. Remember, his or her own manpower exchange deck should be here, while my own horsepower exchange deck should be here. The horsepower is always at the left hand side, while manpower is at the right hand side. So knowing where they are is very important. So let's take this back, since neither of us have gained to those particular decks of cards. So not being able to layer cards on the ideation deck, if I layer zero card, I just only successfully make a chaos play, I'm going to gain only one card to my horsepower exchange deck. The same thing applies if I'm only able to make a compass play when it is a compass compounding and I did not layer card to my ideation deck. I will only gain one card to my manpower exchange deck. Okay, so remember, let's since I've finished this, let me talk about the depreciation deck. Remember that the number of cards to be gained to the depreciation deck is always ascertained at the beginning of the gameplay, and the default is 4 cards. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be any number. I think the maximum should be 8 cards. So what it means is that if you gain up to 4 cards here, or 3 cards, or whatever card we determine at the beginning of the gameplay, the game comes to an end, and we now compare our manpower and horsepower exchange deck and see the person that has the deck that has accumulated the highest fund value, which in this case 5 plus 1 will give us 6, while this other person will have 9 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 5 plus 9. Automatically this person becomes, the game's end as a draw, since this person own is a horsepower exchange deck. So technically that is the two budding operation, which is compass compounding and chaos decompounding. Okay, so that is that about the two basic budding operation in the compass variation gameplay, which is compass compounding and chaos decompounding. So it's important to know that there's an additional benefit of making a compass compounding, which is that a player can gain 2 cards to his or her company deck if he or she had run short of cards in his or her company deck. Let's say the person used it to debase when the person did not have card, and debasing at such situation, which is called a call out, doesn't require or permit a player to pick a card from the stage deck, from the resource deck, and refill. So what it means is that making a successful compass compounding enables a player to gain cards to his or her manpower exchange deck, and also gain 2 cards to his or her company deck, and the company deck should not exceed 5 or be below 1 at any point in time in the gameplay. If it does, the player is going to exit the game and provide what we call an exit compensation card. So but that is by the way. That is that about the budding operations in the game of Ohaukwu, the compass variation or the budding compass gameplay. Okay, so the next thing we are going to look at is budding operation, and the two budding operation in the game is segmentation and resegmentation. So but if you have learned up to this point, you can comfortably play the game using just budding operation, because that is how you gain points. So remember that compass compounding helps you to gain card to the manpower exchange deck, which is here, while chaos decompounding helps you gain card to the horsepower exchange deck, which is here at the left hand side. The two of them form the exchange deck. So the horsepower exchange deck is at the left hand side, while the horsepower exchange deck is at the left hand side, while the manpower exchange deck is at the right hand side. Next to it is your ideation deck. So the other deck that comes in is the segmentation deck that should be here. Okay, so I think that is that for now. That is that for now. That is that for now. So the depreciation deck, you have to determine the number of cards that once it is gained here, and once it is achieved, the game comes to an end. Yeah. So in addition, it's recommended that you in addition it's recommended that you visit the rule book. So the rule book has the compiled gameplay. So but for this particular gameplay, you have to search the rule book. You have to go and you see it here. You see the boarding compass gameplay or the compass variation gameplay. So you will now see the boarding operation here. You can see compass compounding here. You can see chaos decompounding here. Then you see segmentation, you see resegmentation here. So if you flip here, you see some pictorial representation. Although the pictorial representation for the compass variation is not yet here in this edition, but in a subsequent edition you are going to see it there. Okay, so that is that for now. So always reference the rule book. The rule book has the ultimate guide in case there is an adjustment in in the rules and everything. So the rule book is always updated to that effect, and is mainly used for professional. But if you are not a professional player, or thereabout, you just focus and play with this, and you are good to go. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so we've talked about compass compounding and chaos compounding. So and let's go back to the manpower exchange deck and the horsepower exchange deck. So to determine the winner at the end of the game, we have to sum all the whole fund value that a player had accumulated to his or her manpower exchange deck to determine the winner. But in addition, we'll also sum the index value. So this should be -3, but we'll use the absolute value. So we'll consider it to be a plus, not a minus at this point. So this plus this should give us 6. So we'll now take this plus this, which is 6, and multiply with this plus this, which is 6. So 6 times 6 will give us what is called a funding value. So the funding value is what the player with the highest funding value will win the game. So but if you are finding it difficult to calculate the funding value, then you just use the fund value. But for a standard play, by default you use the funding value, which is to sum all the whole fund value a player had gained, and compare it and sum the whole index value, converting the negative one to positive, then summing it up and multiplying the result of this with the result of this. So let's say this player here has these cards. Yeah, so this player here accumulated this card to his or her horsepower exchange deck. So what it means is that the player is going to sum all these index, all these fund values. So +9 +1 +1 +1 +5 +9. Then he now convert this -4 to positive. So 4 +7 +6 +4 +6 +8. Then you now multiply the answer of the result of the summed index value by the result of the summed fund value to get the funding value. Okay, so that is how to use the funding value to determine the winner, which is the standard or the default way of calculating the winner. Okay, then another thing is that whenever a player for every 2 times that a player fails to make a navigation on either the operation deck or his or her ideation deck, for every 2 times an opponent fails to make a navigation, he or she is going to lose cards, which we have talked about. For every time he or she fails, they are going to lose card. But for every 2 times they fail to make a navigation, either on the operation deck or on his or her ideation deck, each opponent are going to gain one card from the resource deck to their manpower exchange deck. So technically, that is what happens when a player fails to make navigation 2 times. That means whenever a player debases 2 cards underneath the operation deck, so for every 2 card a player debases underneath the operation deck due to failure of making navigation, all opponents are going to gain 1 card to their manpower exchange deck. So I think you, as I always say, it's good you reference the rule book to get any the full details of everything and any update or omission that we are making in this particular listing, and some updates we may effect. But for now, I think we can work with this. Okay, so yeah, so that is that. Thanks. So the next thing we are going to look at is the ordinal operation, which is segmentation and resegmentation. We are going to look at segmentation and resegmentation, which are the two ordinal operations in the game of Ohaukwu. Okay, so we've created a scenario where a segmentation play is going to happen. So right now is a 2-player gameplay, and we are assuming that this other player have made a play and played this particular card on his or her ideation deck. So it is now my own instance of play to make. So making my instance of play, I'm going to make a play on the operation deck such that I'm going to create segmentation. Okay, so but before I do that, let me define what segmentation is. So by definition, segmentation is when a player make a play on either of the operation deck using 1 card or 2, or by layering 2 cards or 3 cards on one of the ideation decks, so that the two extreme operation deck, or the 2 operation decks next to each other, constitute cards that have either the same shock threat or the same pattern card, and at the same time the player is to progress to make a play by layering 2 cards on his or her ideation deck. Okay, so let me recreate that here so that we practically see what a segmentation play looks like. Okay, so given the cards in my hand, I'm to make a play on either of these operation deck. And remember that the ideation deck of this player, being this particular card, prevents me from making a play using a card that has trend as a shock threat. So since in this ideation deck there is a trend card, which means I can't play a trend card here. So should I have a trend card here? Like for instance, I have so many trend cards here. So this is a trend card, this is a trend card, this is a trend card. So I can't make a play using this on the operation deck. So but I can only use this or this. So with that, let me decide to make a play with this one. So because I'm trying to make a segmentation play, so with this particular card, I can make a play either here or here. So because of it has the same buyout fund, which is buyout fund 9, and this other card also has buyout fund 9. So this card also has buyout fund 9, and this other card here also has buyout fund 9. So remember that this particular one is the creative show deck. This other one is the Fireman. This one is the creative operation deck. This one is the Fireman operation deck, while this one is the Ned operation deck. So then I can make a play here or here. Okay, so let's say I decide to make a play here. So I wouldn't go and refill yet, so I have to conclude the play. So since I've made a play on the operation deck. So going by the definition of segmentation, you see that these two cards have the same shock threat, which in this case it is depth. So you can see the symbol of the shock threat depth, something like an insert. So as I said, you try to memorize each symbol for each of the 4 shock threats in the game. So you can see this one is depth. So they have in this case they are the 2 extreme. So this one is at this right extreme, while this one is at the left extreme. So given these 2 cards are in the extreme and they have the same shock threat, which is depth, I've fulfilled one of the condition of a segmentation play. So the next thing is to layer 2 cards on my ideation deck. So to layer 2 cards, I have to make a play. So remember the condition of navigation: index cards of the same index value can be played on another, or cards of the same index value can be played on another. Cards of the same buyout fund can be played on another, and cards of the same owner stake can be played on another. So that is for the operation deck. While for the addition deck, we have an inclusion of cards of the same crash time. So let's say I decide to make a navigation here, so which is what I'm trying to do. Since I've made the first play here and a partial segment play has been made there, so the next thing is to complete it here by layering 2 cards here. So what I'll try to do is to make sure that I play up to 2 cards here. So let me say I play this card. Let me say I play here. So I've played here because they have the same the index value 6 and index value 6. So I make a play here. So then I'll try to make a play on this other one again. Okay, so let's say I decide to play here again. So you see with this now, I've made 2 successful plays. So I'm playing here using the same buyout fund plus 1 with buyout fund plus 1. So okay, so then I've made 2 successful navigation play. So with that now, I will now progress to refill my depleted cards, because I made a total of 2 play here and 1 play here. So I will now go ahead and refill. Okay, so that means I've concluded the segmentation play. So concluding the segmentation play comes with an advantage. So one of the advantage of a player making a successful segmentation play is that he or she is going to make the opponent at his immediate right hand side the disadvantaged opponent. So what it means is that the player at my immediate right hand side would have to provide 2 cards that have the same shock threat, like when compared to the 2 cards that formed my my segmentation play here. So which, as you can see, it is shock threat depth. So either the same shock threat or the same pattern card. So in this case, this opponent is the disadvantaged opponent, so he has to provide 2 cards. So these 2 cards, let's say these are the let's look for the 2 cards he or she is going to provide. So let's keep this here first. So let's look for the 2 cards he or she is going to provide. So this is depth, which is equivalent to this. He already has 2 cards that are depth, but outside being depth, it can also have the same pattern. So in this case, there's no pattern here, so he has 2 cards that are depth. So these 2 cards are going to be kept on the segment deck. Here, the segment deck is here. So the person has lost 2 cards to the segment deck. So losing 2 cards to the segment deck means that the person will not be able to play these particular cards. So this is the segment deck. So the segment deck is found at the extreme right of a player's row. Okay, so that is what segmentation does. So segmentation makes a player to lose card temporarily to the segment deck. So as the game progresses, the player can gain back this card back to his or her segment deck. And to do that, what it just means is that since I finished making a play, this player will progress by making a play. You see, the moment this player makes a play now, let's say he or she makes a play here. So the player makes a play, pick a card and refill. So So while making the play, the player is checking my shock card here, which is a trend. So but he played a slump. So okay, slump card. So then the next thing is for him or her to react here. So let's say to make a play on the ideation deck. So you see now the player has covered this card one time. So the moment he or she is able to make two navigation here, automatically they will gain one card back. Sorry, okay. This one is the ideation deck. This should be the segment deck. So making up to two navigation to cover the segmentation card means he's going to gain that segment card back to his or her company card, which is here. So that's it doesn't matter who was able to make those two navigation here, but once those two navigation has been made, and let's just say these are the two navigations. So let's say this one has made a play here. So let's say I decide to make a play here also now. So I've been able to layer two cards here above the segment card, which means that he's now going to gain one card from his or her segment deck back to his or her company deck. So that is what this segmentation does. It just makes a player to temporarily lose a card to his or her segment deck, which he or she is going to gain back once two cards have been played on the segment deck. So but in case a player fails to provide those two cards that have the same shock threat or pattern card as the two cards that made the segment play, what it means is that they are going to lose equivalent number of cards. So for every one card a player failed to provide to the segment deck when a player, the other opponent, made a successful segmentation play, he or she is going to lose it. So failing to provide one card means they are going to debase one card, while failing to provide two cards means they are going to debase two cards. So the next thing we are going to look at is resegmentation. So if you've understood segmentations, understanding resegmentation is very easy. So we try to create a scenario where resegmentation has happened in the deck. So that's what we try to do right now. Okay, so we have created a scenario where we could possibly make a resegmentation play here. So as I said earlier, if you've understood what segmentation is, understanding segmentation is just easy. So the difference between segmentation and resegmentation is just that for resegmentation, you are just trying to make the two operation decks next to each other. You are trying to make the two cards to be of same trademark card, or the two extreme cards. So like this and this are the extreme card, while these are next to each other, or these two like this are next to each other. Okay, so in this case we are assuming that I have made a play, so it's now the instance of this other player to make a play. So so the player will have to pick his or her company deck card and make a play. So for him or her to make a play, the first thing they are going to look at is the prevailing card on my ideation deck. So given that this particular card on my ideation deck has the shock threat trend, I'm preventing him or her from using a card in his or her company deck that has the shock threat trend. So as you can see, okay, the person doesn't have any card that has trend in it here. So that means it's free to make any play. So so the first thing we are trying to do is to make a resegmentation. So but before we proceed to doing it here, let's define what resegmentation is. So by definition, resegmentation is when a player make a play on either of the operation deck using one card, or by layering two cards or three cards on one of the operation deck, such that the two extreme operation deck like this, or the two operation decks next to each other, constitute cards that have the same trademark card, and at the same time he or she progresses to make a play on his or her ideation deck by layering two cards. Okay, so with that definition, let's try to create it here. So with that, I'll try to make a play using this card. So the moment I play this card here, so I'm playing this card here because it has the same owner stake C, as we can see here. So it has the same owner stake with this other card, owner stake C. So that's why I can be able to navigate here. So the moment I navigate here, I've been able to make a partial resegmentation. So with this, you can see, because they have the same trademark cards, which in this case it is Ohaukwu. So so you can see the logo here, the symbol, the logo mark for Ohaukwu is here, and it's also here. So it can be like this. In this case, they are next to each other. So but if it is like this, they are the two extreme, which is also still valid. So even if they are like this, they are still next to each other, so it's also valid. So but in this case, they are like this. So which is also a partial resegmentation that has happened there. So after being able to make these two operation deck have the same trademark card, the next thing I'll try to do is to make two navigational play on my ideation deck. Okay, so what it means is that I won't refill the card I've used to make a play on the operation deck yet, so I'll have to progress by looking at the card in my hand. So with this, I can make a play here because they have this particular card have the same crash time L with this other card here on my ideation deck. As you can see, my ideation deck here, so I can make a play with it because they have the same crash time L. So I can also make a play because they have the same owner stake S. So that means I'm navigating here means I've been able to make a play. So but I'm required to make two navigational plays. So after successfully making this one, I have to also navigate this because I can navigate with this also, given that it has the same buyout fund 5 with this other card I had just navigated here, which is this particular card, and it has buyout fund 5 also, so I can make a play here. So with that, I've been able to not just create a play where the two operation deck have the same trademark card, but I've been able to navigate 2 times by layering 2 cards successfully on my ideation deck. So with that, I have made a successful segmentation play. So making a successful navigation play makes me in this case the advantage opponent, since I'm playing on behalf of this starting second player. So this starting second player becomes the advantage opponent, whereas right here becomes the disadvantage opponent. So what it means is that they are going to put themselves in a favorable condition while I will be in a disfavorable condition. So but aside that, before progressing to know what are the benefits of making a resegmentation play, just like in segmentation play, you can see that sometimes you can be able to layer a card. What it just means is that sometimes you can be able to play a card like this first. Let's say in a case where you can't just make a segmentation or resegmentation instantaneously. You can play a card first, trying to create room for it to happen. So before I now play another one, this one is just called layering. So, and that layering has to obey the rules guiding navigation. What are those rules guiding navigation? One is that cards of the same index value, buyout fund, and owner stake can be played on another. So with that, I can play it because it has the same owner stake C. So making a play here, I've layered. So then after layering, I now play again. So now you remember that while I'm making this play here, I'm trying to make sure that this card doesn't have the same shock threat like this other card this opponent plays here, which has a trend. So this card here is churn, while this one is trend. So which means this play is valid. Okay, so since I've been able to layer this card, what it means is that the condition of the ideation deck in this other player's ideation card preventing me from the addition card from in this other player addition that prevents me from making a play nullifies. So what it means is that I may be able to make a play now without considering this shock threat here. So but let's say I go back to just making okay, sorry, this is my own deck, so I make a play here. So okay, so what it means is that I've been able to make the partial segmentation here, and I layer 2 cards here. So with that now, let me review. So I played a total of 2 cards here and a total of 2 cards here. So let me review. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so after refilling, the next thing is that what resegmentation does is that I mandate all these other players to all the opponent becomes the disadvantaged opponent. Then they are required to debase 2 cards. They are required to place 2 cards or segment 2 cards from their company deck to their segment deck. So what that means is that in this case, this particular player is the disadvantaged opponent. So the disadvantaged opponent in this case is going to take 2 cards here and place in his or her segment deck. But those 2 cards should have the same shock threat as the 2 cards that either of the 2 cards that made the segmentation play, which in this case, this particular one of the segmentation card here has trend, while this other segmentation card here has slump. So I'll now look at my hand and look for trend and slump. Okay, this is slump and this is slump. So okay, depth. Sorry, this one is depth. So there is depth here also, and there is slump. So I can choose to give out these 2 slump cards. So let's say I put these 2 slump cards here. Okay, so just like segmentation, in resegmentation, this segment deck just temporarily makes a company deck dormant. So what it means is that I can't use it yet, but I can regain it back later. Okay, so but should in case I fail to provide these 2 cards, what it means is that if I fail to provide 2 cards that have either the same shock threat as the 2 cards that formed the resegmentation, I will have to debase it. Let's say it is only one I was able to present and I failed to provide another one to the segment deck. What it means is that I'm going to debase it like this underneath the operation deck, so without refilling it. Okay, so gaining it back. So okay, so you now see, let's just assume that I didn't have something to provide, so I'll be left with this. Okay, so that's what resegmentation does. So resegmentation, when an advantage player makes a successful resegmentation, he or she commands all opponents to segment 2 cards to their segment deck, and such 2 cards should have the same shock threat as either of the cards that made the segmentation play. Just like segmentation. So in segmentation, it's just the same thing. The only difference is that it has to be the same shock threat or the same pattern card. As we can see, this one is a trademark card. That's why it's resegmentation. So you see there are different trademark cards in the game. Trademark cards are just cards that have the logo in it. As you can see, this one is Madadin. So Madadin is another trademark card in the game of Ohaukwu. So in this case, let's say if this was like this, it wouldn't be a resegmentation because they are different trademark cards. They have to be the same trademark card. So what it means is that if there is a Madadin here, this other card should be a Madadin, or this other card here should be a Madadin. So that is so there's Madadin, there is Bucheri, as you can see, as a trademark card, and there is Cheiche. I think there is Cheiche somewhere. So when you look across the card, I think you should be able to see Cheiche as a trademark. Yeah, so this one is Cheiche right here. Okay, so that is that about the segmentation. So these are the boarding operation in the game of the two major boarding operation in the game of Ohaukwu. Another boarding operation is a call out. So, but you can always reference the rule book because it contains more information about this about all these things we have talked about, and there may be some omission in this video or so, and that's why the rule book is the penultimate. As you can see, there is a call out here when you come to the boarding operations. So when you look at boarding operations, you see segmentation, you see resegmentation, there is call out. Call out is just when there is an erroneous play in the game. So when you get the rule book, you get to know more about call out, or do a video about call out more later. So one popular call out in the game of Ohaukwu is when a player doesn't have anything to play, which he is going to debase cards underneath the operation deck. Okay, so one popular call out in the game of Ohaukwu is when a player doesn't have anything to play, which is which is a call out. So what it means is that the player is going to debase cards underneath the show deck. Remember that a player is always required to make a play using one card on his or her either of the operation deck and also on his or her ideation deck, which means a total of 2 cards is to be navigated. So failing to do either one means the person is going to lose it underneath the operation deck. So that is that about call out, but the rule book has more detail about it. Okay, so then also remember that when navigating, a player is not required to layer cards while making a regular navigation. Let's say you are just trying to make a play here, and let's say this card is the one that is here. You can't just start layering card here. So it is only when a player is trying to make a boarding operation or a boarding operation before he or she is permitted to make more than one play on the operation deck by layering it. So what it means is that until I want to make a boarding operation, be it compound compass compounding or chaos decompounding, which are the two boarding operation, or I want to make segmentation or resegmentation, that's only when I'll start layering cards like this. So but if I fail to make such play, the layering will not be successful. I have to take it back. So layering is only permitted when a player ends up successfully making a boarding operation or a boarding operation, whether it is compass compounding, chaos decompounding, segmentation or resegmentation. So that is only when layering is permitted. Okay, so another one again is when a player decides to layer 2 cards on the ideation deck. So when a player layer 2 cards on the ideation deck, and those 2 cards, remember, a player is just required to make only one play on the ideation deck, but he or she has the option of layering 2 cards, but those 2 cards must have the same shock threat. And if that happens, what it does is that it stops the other player from it limits the other player from making a play on the his or her ideation deck, given that the card he wants to use from his company deck to make a play on his or her ideation deck has the same shock threat. Okay, so that is when a player decides to navigate 2 times simultaneously on the ideation deck. So I think that is that for today about segmentation and resegmentation. And remember that you don't have to really learn segmentation and resegmentation to play the game. So learning the boarding operations, the 2 major boarding operations, which are compass compounding and chaos decompounding, is enough for you to play. So boarding operation like segmentation and resegmentation is just used to make the game more fun and interesting, so and more even strategic also. So okay, I think that is that for today. Yeah, thanks.